Hello. It's been forever since I've made a YouTube video, but hi, hello, I'm not dead. I'm still alive here. Thank God, because this year has been a mess. A whole mess. There's been a ton of stuff going on in my personal life, so that's why I unfortunately had to put content creation on the back burner and focus on university and that sort of stuff. But hello, my name is Wisteria Rose. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. I am an independent author of 2, soon to be 3 books, and the 3rd book is what I'm actually making a video about today. So, Interlude, Peripeteia, my next book, comes out tomorrow, April 20th, 2021. So today's the last day to pre-order in case you are interested. But today, as a little sneak peek to celebrate my upcoming release, I am actually going to be reading the very first chapter of my new book that comes out tomorrow. So this is a spoiler for you guys. So I'm super excited to hop into that, but just one more thing. I'm going to put my release week schedule up right now. So you can see everything I have going on for this week. I have live streams featuring my betas and some of my author buddies, as well as a stream with just me starting my new book, which will be the 3rd book in this series. So I'm super excited. Today's video will probably be kind of short, but that's okay, because I'm glad to finally be back making content. Yeah, I'm super excited. So let's go ahead and get into it. If you haven't seen, I will just be reading from my proof copy of this book. It's absolutely beautiful. My designer did a wonderful job again with everything, and I cannot wait until I have the whole trilogy together. So this is her, so let's crack into it. Chapter 1. The morning comes too soon. For what seems like no time at all, I am gently shaken awake. For a moment, it feels as if I still got one foot in dreamland. The lights overhead swirl a bit in my blurry vision like the clouds in my dreams. The moment ends when the face of my my husband, comes into view. Taein's navy blue hair is sticking up in a million different directions, and a wide, excited smile graces his face. "Good morning, wifey," he sing-songs, leaning over me and pressing a kiss on my forehead. "Morning, Tae," I say, yawning. How the tables have turned. I never would have thought that Taein would be the one to wake me up, considering how hard it is to get him up in the morning. He moves back to allow me to sit up and stretch. I feel a little sore when I swing my legs off the hotel bed and stand up, causing me to wince just a bit. "You okay?" Taein asks, coming around the bed to check on me. He cups my face in his hands, looking me over with a concerned expression. "Okay," I reassure him, pulling one of his hands away to place a kiss on his palm. What I'm feeling right now is a new sensation. It's not incredibly painful, but I find myself wandering into the bathroom to search through my bag for ibuprofen. It doesn't take me long to locate the pills and take them. While I'm here, I glance up and look at myself in the mirror. Nothing has changed about my appearance since the last time I studied myself like this, but my whole life is different. I somehow found my soulmate, fell in love with him, and married him despite the fact that we don't speak the same language. I can honestly say that I've never been happier in my life. That empty void that has always persisted inside of me is finally filled. No longer will I be trapped in an empty house without purpose or meaning. Now my life is at the beginning of a brand new adventure. Taein wanders into the bathroom, a pair of pajama pants riding low on his hips. He turns the shower on and scratches his head. Looking over his shoulder, he locks eyes with me through the mirror. "Love you," he says quietly. The blush is instant. I don't think I could have chosen a better person to be my soulmate. "Love you more," I say, turning away from the mirror. It doesn't take us very long to wash up and get ready to leave for the flight to Korea. I don't take much care with my outfit, so I rummage through my luggage to find something clean that I didn't wear at Disney. I come up with a white crop top and a pair of comfy cream-colored sweats. Worried that I might get cold on the flight, I open Taein's luggage too and pull out one of his flannels that complement the outfit and add it on top. Taein is honestly dressed similarly, wearing his own pair of sweats that are just a little too big for him and a Disney-themed shirt I bought him a few days ago. Both of our hair is a mess, so I dig around in my bag and pull out a scrunchie to pile my curls on top of my head, then stick a few bobby pins in to keep them from falling over. Taein is just chilling on the top of the unmade bed, so I decide to take a smaller hair tie and pull his hair into the tiniest ponytail I've ever seen. It makes me giggle. He looks like a blue pineapple. What? He asks me. It only makes me laugh harder. It's adorable. Taein fishes out his phone and opens up his camera to look at himself. I look crazy, he says. The expression on his face makes me wheeze. I pull the elastic out of his hair since it's not long enough to pull off the look I was going for, and instead rake my fingers through his hair, getting it to lie down. It isn't perfect at all, but it looks much more reasonable. Just as I give up on getting Taein's flyaways to be flat against his head, a knock comes on the door. Hey guys, are you ready to go? It's Noah. Yeah, I call out, doing a visual sweep around the room to make sure I haven't forgotten to pack anything. Taein heads over to the door to open it for his group mate. They exchange pleasantries, basic enough for me to understand in my incredibly novice Korean, before Noah leans to the side to wave at me. Good morning, Venus, he says, ready for the big flight? I think so, I reply. I'm a bit jittery about both the flight and the move. I've never been on a plane for more than 2 hours at a time, nor have I ever left the country. Moving to Korea almost feels like I'm moving to Pluto. The rest of the members and Manager Jung are downstairs in the lobby. Our cab should be here soon, Noah continues. All right, I say. I reach for Taein's right hand with my left and head out behind Noah, the two of us pulling all our luggage behind us. We meet everyone else downstairs, and they all look tired. Minky is half asleep, leaning on Manager Jung's shoulder, and Songmin looks as if he's ready to fall over any minute. Jinho is still wearing an eye mask on his head and yawns when we come into sight. Everyone more or less grumbles some sort of greeting before we shuffle outside into the early morning air. The twilight is warm, its darkness broken up by the many streetlights that litter downtown Atlanta. I take a second to close my eyes, breathing it in. I don't know when I'll be here next. I don't feel a particular attachment to the city, but it's all I've ever known. As relieved as I am to be leaving, I'm also a bit scared, like a baby bird peering over the edge of its mother's nest. But this bird has been alone long enough. It's time for me to learn how to fly. A large black van pulls up in front of our group, and we all file in as the driver loads our luggage into the massive trunk. There aren't that many suitcases, since the majority of my and Taein's things that he brought to the States were already sent over to Korea, and the other boys only brought carry-ons. I check my phone. It's 4 a.m. I'm tempted to just lean against Taein and fall back asleep, but I know we aren't that far from the airport, so I strap myself in and peer out the window, watching the city stroll by. There are a million storefronts. Some look squeaky clean, while others are decorated with graffiti. There are music shops, restaurants, clubs, bookstores, and so many other places I've never been to. I wonder, if I had never met Taein, would I have explored these places one day? Or would my mother's grip on me have never loosened? I zoned out for the rest of the car ride, my eyes glazed over as I think of everything and nothing all at once. I'm passively aware of Taein's gaze on me, and I relax when he glides his thumb over the back of my hand, helping to ease my tension. I send him a small smile in return. There's no point in wondering how my life would have ended up if I'd never gone to that concert a month and a half ago. I have now to focus on. Sooner than I would have liked, or maybe not soon enough, I'm not sure. The van is pulling up in front of the airport. All 7 of us unload and grab our things, making our way into the massive building. While the streets of Atlanta aren't completely dead, they look like a graveyard compared to the airport. People are everywhere bustling to and from their destinations, each with a life of their own. Some are wearing suits despite the early hour, and some are dressed like they just stepped off a runway in Paris. But most people look like me, wearing comfy clothes and rubbing the sleep out of their eyes. Our group makes its way to the international terminal, where we eventually find our gate and sit down. Minky falls asleep instantly. I think ahead to the trip we're about to make. It's a non-stop one-way flight from Atlanta to Seoul. We're going to be on the plane for more than 15 hours. I know jet lag is going to kill me. Any tips for not ending up like a zombie by the time we land in Korea? I ask Noah, who sits on one side of me. He thinks for a moment. Sleeping on the flight will help, but the time difference is really jarring. It took me a good 3 days to get back to feeling normal the first time I went to Korea. Oh, great, I say. I'm glad I put on something comfortable because it sounds like I'm not going to want to do anything when we land. We wait for about half an hour or so before we are called to board. Of course, instead of getting onto a normal passenger plane, we end up in a private jet. I'm not surprised, especially since Charlotte emailed me our tail numbers instead of regular old boarding passes. Oh my God, Taein says, looking around the lavish area. The jet feels more like an elegant living room than a plane. It's done up in tan, white, and gold, the floor covered in soft carpet. The seats look like large, plush recliners with eating tables between them and a couch built into one side of the plane. The private flight attendants wear perfect uniforms and perfect smiles despite the early hour and greet us with large smiles. All the Eclipse members are wide awake now, stunned by the new ride. Manager Jung says something to Noah while everyone oohs and ahs at the plane. Venus, Manager Jung says this plane is a wedding present your mother has gifted to the company. Great, I say, stressing the word and plopping down on one of the chairs. I know this is my mother showing off. This gift has nothing to do with my wedding to Taein and everything to do with making friends with the Idol Factory CEO. I'm not upset for long, though, as the rest of the boys are absolutely ecstatic. They move about the cabin like hyper school children, exploring each and every nook and cranny in the place and chattering with each other. I must admit that I'm curious as well, so I trail after them, discovering a wet bar, a large bathroom with a shower, and an entire bedroom. I run my hands over the comforter on the large bed, feeling how soft it is with a single touch. Honestly, all I want to do is crawl inside of it and fall asleep, but I think I'm too wound up to do so. When everyone is done scouting on the jet, I plop down on the couch and settle in while the cabin crew does their standard safety presentation in both English and Korean so everyone can understand. Once that's over, we're up in the air. Woo! Where was I? Once that's over, we're up in the air. Taking off feels like I'm riding a roller coaster, climbing quickly to the top before we're above the clouds, then soaring through the air. I open my window blind and peep at the city down below. Skyscrapers look like small dots on the ground, sprinkled with pinpricks of lights. Somewhere down there, Mama and Arabella are fast asleep, hopefully having peaceful dreams. I don't have a word for the feeling that settles in my stomach. Am I scared? Excited? Sad? Nervous? I don't know. Maybe all of them at once. Maybe this is an entirely new emotion no one has ever felt before, or maybe this is what everyone feels like when they go out on their own for the first time. I glance at Taein from the side of my eye. He's looking at something on Jinho's phone, his attention fully on the device. I wonder what he felt when he left to pursue his dream. Taein has been gone from his family for years, having left when he was still in middle school. Was he scared, or did his determination to become an idol overwhelm any hesitation? I'm going to give myself a headache if I keep thinking like this. Deciding to find a distraction, I pull out my phone and connect to the jet's Wi-Fi, then download an ebook that sounds interesting. Thankfully, the tale about a young girl starting a rebellion is fascinating, and it pulls me in so thoroughly that I don't take a break from reading until one of the cabin crew comes by with stacks. Even then, I barely look up long enough to pick up a bag of peanuts before diving back into the story. When I'm done, 4 hours have passed and the sky is bright outside of the plane. Looking around, I see that almost everyone else is fast asleep, curled up in their chairs. During my reading, Taein moved from sitting by Jinho to sitting next to me and is absolutely passed out. He's sleeping with his mouth open slightly and his head bent at an awkward angle that will definitely leave him with a kink in his neck if I don't move him. I put my phone aside, then scoot away from him, scooping his head up and laying it in my lap. I leave my hand on his head, brushing his hair affectionately. He moves closer to my touch, sighing and smiling slightly before falling right back to sleep. He's got to be excited to go back home. He hasn't been in Korea for several months, and I know he must have missed his home country, his family, and his work as an idol. We're stepping out of my world and into his. Taein did a wonderful job of adapting to my life. I can only hope that I'll settle into his just as easily. I look at the ring on my finger as I comb through Taein's hair. It's absolutely beautiful, something befitting a princess. It matches Taein's wedding band perfectly, and I can't help but feel like the rings were meant for us. I know I'm going to have a lot to adjust to, but if it means I get to be with him, I don't mind one bit. I look up when the couch shifts next to me. Noah has sat down. Hey, I said, you couldn't sleep? I took a nap, he says, but I woke up to go to the bathroom. I nod. Are you nervous? Noah asks about moving. Never in a million years did I think I would be sitting a foot away from my favorite member of my favorite band while we talk about me moving to his country because I'm married to his leader, but here we are. Yeah, I confess, really nervous actually. Noah has such a calm aura about him that it makes it easy to open up in his presence. It's okay, he assures me. I was really nervous when we moved to Korea, and I spoke the language pretty fluently. It's definitely a different country. There are a lot of little things, both in the language and the culture, that you won't be able to pick up until you've been there a while. There are some things you'll never understand, no matter how long you live there. I've officially lived in Korea longer than I did in the States, but there are still some things that don't quite click with me. I nod. It definitely makes me feel better hearing about Noah's experiences. Being in school helped me out a lot, though. It made settling in easier when I made friends. I'm worried that I won't have any, I divulge. I've never really had friends in the first place, so I can't imagine trying to make them in a different country, speaking a different language. Well, being a foreigner is definitely going to make you stand out. Well, there are a lot of foreigners in Seoul. I haven't heard of any ever attending the school Taein, Minky, and Songmin attended, since mostly idols and other entertainment-based students go there. Oh, I say. Charlotte, my mother's personal assistant, emailed me about my schooling a few days ago, but Disney left me so exhausted I never really read it. I suppose now is as good a time as any, so I decide to read over everything once I'm done speaking with Noah. Some people will probably want to become friends with you just because you're from another country and speak English. It'll give them a chance to practice theirs. That's not necessarily a bad thing since you get to practice your Korean, but you probably want to try to make some genuine friends as well. I nod. Make genuine friends. Got it. If you'd like, I can introduce you to my mom. She probably relates to your experiences better than I do since she came over without knowing any Korean at all. You do that? I ask, amazed. It's common knowledge that Noah's mother is a retired supermodel. She did runway shows, beauty pageants, and was even Miss Universe at one point. She's incredibly well known in the fashion world. Yeah, I'm sure she won't mind. She's never met anyone who found their soulmate, so she's interested in meeting you as well. Wow, I say surprised. I would love to do that. Not only would speaking with Noah's mother help me settle into life as an American in Korea, but I would get to chat with someone who I've always thought was amazing. All right, I'll let her know, Noah says. You should probably try to get some sleep. Okay, I say, exhaustion hitting me like a brick now that I don't feel quite as anxious. Noah gets up and returns to his chair, where he puts on headphones and closes his eyes, listening to something either to rest or to try and fall asleep. I move one of the couch cushions under my head and wiggle around until both Taein and I are comfortable. We end up facing each other on the couch, me tucked into his chest. I drift off to the sound of his heartbeat. So there you go, guys. This is the very first chapter of my new book, Interlude Peripeteia, which releases tomorrow. If you'd like to pre-order, all the links are down below, as well as if you're interested in picking up the first book in this series, Intro Laconic, or my debut novel, Mythomania. I'm super, super excited for you guys to read this book. My characters go through a lot of personal growth and struggles and angst. But there's also a lot of fluff and joy in this book as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and please keep a lookout for all my other events going on release week. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.